upgrades in between battles and see what this Sturgeon force is going. It looks like Danustica heading down that direction. Another force. Now we've got Southern Empire sieging Saronia, and there's Regea. So maybe that should have our attention. It's interesting. This guy, it's like he doesn't know we're tailing him, and I think it's actually going to pull us too far away. Of course, we've got war with the Aserai. Lovely. We're not participating that much in diplomacy. I guess we could spur the Khuzait to peace here, but I don't mind the action in the short term. We're making some gains, and the Aserai haven't really been a problem. It's these damn sturgeons that have been the problem. Let's go ahead and start an episode here. Probably won't include that smaller battle. Welcome back again, friends, to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related. Welcome back again to our epic Vlandian campaign as we run around with an army of Khuzait. This multi-sequenced campaign here. One episode you're with the Baron, of course. One episode you're with Rylan. The Baron's children continue to be an impact in this campaign. And again, it remains to be seen what is going to happen with the Baron. What is going to happen with his children? What is going to happen in this fun, epic, twisted campaign that I have devised and that is sort of unfolding. All the different mods here. Henry Rose. Doesn't look like we have any other skill points that we can do here. Carmenet, of course, is the wife of Rylan. She's getting stronger in her attributes. And it's slow and steady, level 25, right? Women come out of the womb usually weaker than the boys. It's sort of a strange process. And I've been tailing this Sturgeon force, but now Saronia is under siege. So I think we'll break off here. Regea is sieging Saronia. We don't want to miss out on that. A chance to put down the Empress. The Southern Empire is very much being shoved into a box here. And as usual in Bannerlord, anytime a kingdom is really weak, you want to focus on them. So even though the Sturgeons kind of rampaging, right, kind of tearing us a new one. Obviously, we were repulsed in a huge battle at Melian Castle. Then one of their forces headed down to Danustica to siege. I think we will take on the Southern Empire first. Now, I lost sight of Manchug, and here's a bunch of units that they ran out of food. Zhao Liang. Khuzait is giving away cities. The Aserai have large amounts of territory as well. You got the Southern Empire has 2 or 3 locations here to our north. Regea is here with an army 2,000 strong. Let's go ahead and gather up a few of these injured armies. I think when they join our army here, we'll be able to give them food, so to speak. Look at our fiscal situation. We're generating heaps of cash. Most of that is from battle, of course. Myzia is under siege. That looked like it was the Sturgeons. So we're beset with enemies. And even though there's a huge amount of militia at some of these cities from all the prosperity, they're not going to last very long. Saronia is definitely the priority. And again, we want to smash the Empress here. It's amazing she's still alive and she's got help. She's got backup. 2,800, 2,900. Man. Yeah, this campaign just produces epic battles like the sun produces sunrises. I mean, it's nonstop. 2,200. We are healing, and I don't want to fight late at night. I think. I'm gonna take a look at the daylight here and see if it's acceptable. Oh, okay, that's acceptable. So let's see. Let's make sure. Let's back out and make sure the player damage is set to normal. Every once in a while, I'll do a cutscene and adjust that. We'll make sure we've got our. We won't actually have the right banner for this kind of situation. The Southern Empire are probably going to have a lot of infantry and cavalry. I wish we had a steel banner. We just don't have that banner. That's the minus taken melee damage. The rest of our equipment is in good order here. I don't think we have any upgrades we can do here. Of course, normal player damage. Every once in a while I'll make a cutscene, and in order to pull off a cutscene or to do something, we will change the damage. So that's why you see me constantly flicking to that, and holy shit, 583 elite cataphract in just Regea's army here. This is about the strongest Southern Empire army I've ever seen. 2,700 troops. 583, that almost looked like a typo, but I saw it for sure. So the first initial wave, actually the first 2 waves, are probably going to be almost entirely Tier 6 heavy cavalry. Vanguard Ferris, probably some Khans Guards, and Imperial Elite Cataphract. This is, again, we've had a lot of these epic clashes. We have quite a few of the Varangians, and that's sort of by accident. The Khuzait units are allowed to use them, of course. I can't tell them, don't pick them up. Our armies rose, myself, when I mean myself, Ryland's army, we don't have any Varangians, or we have very few. A couple here, a couple there. See here. Try to figure out the correct unit alignment for this kind of battle. I mean, every single one of these battles, you know, you're risking death, right? That's the biggest thing at this stage. We could probably recover if we get captured or suffer a calamitous loss. But, you know, if Ryland gets killed or Rose gets killed, right? The whole campaign, everything gets a little harder because these companions, these children of Baron York are getting pretty powerful, right? They're starting to develop good commander skill sets. And that's been essential here. So just spend just a little bit of time based on the nature of this kind of battle. Stick a bunch of these Horse Archer Khuzait units in the 7th Corps. We're going to run with 3 different Horse Archer divisions, the 6th, 7th, and 8th. And reinforcements will also come out in the 4th, Horse Archer reinforcements. So basically, we're going to have a shit ton of mobile horses shooting this whole battle at a bunch of mobile horses trying to stab us. And it's the old contest, horse archers and cavalry. Now we have some archers, but it's literally single digits. 9 and 10, 2 tiny archer divisions. We've got a decent amount of infantry and enough cavalry, I think, to do a bit of a ring defense here in the center of this valley here. Put some infantry in there, put some archers in there, really sort of bait the enemy to get in there, and then surround them with horse archers. We can do 6th, 7th, and 8th just in a gigantic C shape around the center here. If the enemy doesn't attack our center, we'll simply attack and concentrate our forces in the center wherever they go. So a little tiny bit of a checkmate situation. We use this upper ramp here for horse archers. That way they can shoot down in the valley. And they are coming in just a huge phalanx. It's all... I don't see any infantry even. It's just a gigantic line of cavalry coming our way. Here's some horse archers. That's all they have is like 3 guys. These are all lords. So of course they take 200 damage and don't die. Die! His horse goes flying. Yeah, and that is a lot of heavy cavalry. Now we want to break their charge. That's the main thing. The ring defense is designed here to eat that charge. That way we don't suffer a huge amount of initial losses. In fact, we'll square this infantry, put them out in front here. I got to get ramped up a little bit for this kind of a battle. We've got Rose and 10 archers back there shooting. They're not going to be much of a factor. I may even try to protect them a little bit just so that we don't get companions and or children of the Baron here killed in these epic battles. The Death for All mod is cranked, right? So there's a lot at stake. Even though these battles, some guys probably look at these and they're like, well, it's no big deal. The war of attrition in a campaign like this really starts to be a factor. Now the enemy seems to have unlimited troops, but they have limited good lords, right? They're going to start suffering losses too. And I'm going to try to keep Ryland on his feet in big battles like this. Well, that's obviously easier said than done. Got beautiful positioning here with our cavalry just firing into the valley. In fact, we can sort of participate a little bit here. The 8th Corps is behind the enemy. They're completely surrounded in the center, attacking the square, attacking the cavalry in the center. It's a mixed division, so it's not optimal for charging, of course, because then the horse archers charge. But the reality is F1 and F3 with the horse archers, very similar to F1, F4, right? They engage aggressively. The biggest difference would be essentially aggressiveness. I think a charge, they tend to go a little bit more towards the enemy and maybe more likely to engage in melee. Now, where you're engaged, they will act very carefully, right? And essentially try to kite your F1, F4. There needs to be a command, realistically, for horse archers. That is, circle. You want them to essentially circle the enemy. Long ago when I played Total War, I think there was actually a name for that, and I do have my own military ignorance from time to time as we smash down elbows here with repeated blows. You get this deep into history and you remember obscure things and then forget their commander. You remember obscure things and then forget the obvious. Kill this guy here. It's always good to kill their captain. Down he goes. Now, our handful of archers here, Rose is there yelling commands. I love it. We're going to eventually get a few more archers in our army, and we're going to probably start kiting back over these various ridges here. One of the things that the enemy's usually pretty guilty of is overextending and overcharging with the units. They will regroup, but when they do so, they're usually a long ways away from their allied forces. Right? We'll take advantage of that break in time to bring up reinforcements, reform our lines, and then come up with our next tactical maneuver. Big battles like this do start to degenerate to chaos because the AI so rarely makes a full reorganization with any kind of tactical approach. The AI, once the initial 2 or 3 rounds of sort of foreplay in a battle are over, they tend to just resort to F1, F3 themselves. Right? You'll see an infantry line or something like that, some archers form up, but a lot of the times they just send troops as fast as they can your direction. In all honesty, I don't think the AI code is written for battles like this. I'm not sure even the developers thought battles like this were going to be a thing, right? I don't know. I can't imagine them, fiddling around at Tail Worlds with battles of 3,000 versus 4,000. I could be way wrong. But of course, your typical battle in Bannerlord is what, 1,000 versus 900, right? 800 versus 600. They're not like this. And yet, for all that, at least the system handles it well. And what I mean by that is the bodies accumulate, the arrows fly everywhere. The physics of it gets a little bit muddied, but it does a pretty good job overall. Bodies slumping over each other. And the AI is not totally hapless. It's just not good, right? A lot of guys are on both sides of the fence. I hear guys that say, hey, the AI really sucks. And then for every post like that, or every 2 posts, maybe on Reddit or comments on our Patreon, not Patreon, on the Discord, guys will say, the AI, I can't beat it, right? It's doing stuff that's beating me. And we've all been there, where the AI, whatever approach it takes, usually a hyper-aggressive approach, works pretty well. Here, it's sort of putty in our hands. Now the question is, can we overcome the strength of this army? They have a pretty clearly stronger army. It's just a question of how badly we can manipulate them with tactics. Fucker. So far, so good. In fact, we still have 2/3 of a health bar, but I should have said earlier, right? Strap yourself in. This is probably going to be at least a 20-minute battle. I mean, this is one of the largest battles in the campaign. And they're going to be larger, right? 3,000 versus 3,000. I anticipate even larger as these kingdoms flesh out. Right? And that's part of the reason we did the time lapse in the first case. They got Khans guards behind us here as if their army wasn't strong enough. Khans guards, they're probably going to have a whole heap of tough infantry. In fact, that's what this infantry line here is waiting. I'm essentially using them like a bumper because I know they're coming up. And with the strong shield wall line, those guys will sort of vigorously defend themselves and will do cycle charging like this here. The enemy's starting to sort of creep in a little bit on our forces with elite Manabliatons and Legionnaire. And we will cycle charge. In the meanwhile, we're flanking, right? We've got archers spraying them in the back. I've got a horse archer division spraying them in the back. And like I was worried about, they are coming up a little bit piecemeal. Let's see here, getting my units a little bit crossed up. The 2nd Division is coming out in archers. This becomes a problem in very big battles like this that last a long time because your units switch places. In particular, when I command horse archers in 3, sometimes 4 divisions, I rotate them typically counterclockwise. It just is natural for me, and it's a system that I've gotten comfortable with. That way I can keep track and say, okay, the 6th is off to our left. They're going to be towards the center the next time. The 6th then eventually will go towards our right, etc. Right? They move the same way storms do in the northern hemisphere as seen from a radar. That's it. I still get confused, right? The old span of control. We often exceed the capacity. And Bannerlord is kind of the ultimate span of control test, because not only are you commanding 7, 8 units and managing reinforcements against multiple threats, but you're fighting. It's really a great cerebral test, and I don't find anything like it. I've fiddled around with a handful of games. Even Total War, when I played Total War, it sort of paled in comparison to how in-depth Bannerlord is, how intense it is from so many different cerebral requirements, because you're doing everything, right? You're command and control, you're doing memorization, you're working on your tactics, adjusting things, assessing needs on the battlefield, and then on top of that, trying to cut down these horse archers coming in on your flank, avoid javelins to the face or a Kongsguard shot right to the eyes. It's an intense and rather addicting feeling to run around the battlefield with a general control over it. It's never perfect, but you start to get sort of in the groove after you've been playing Bannerlord for a long time. I need to also play it that day for a while. I find that my 7th battle is way better than the first battle in any given session. As soon as I say that, I get smashed on the infantry lines. Now here we just have archers spraying them and infantry cycle charging. The cycle charging, I think, is an important concept too. I can talk about that briefly here as they continue to bring up their troops. You really want to attack in unison in Bannerlord, right? It doesn't work very well to have this approach, because these infantrymen are fighting, 10, 20 on 100. Meanwhile, when our guys charge, look at that. There's like 100 angry infantry smashing everything in sight. And it's just might makes right? It's strength in numbers. Choose your analogy. Meanwhile, the enemy is doing the opposite, right? Getting divided 20, 30, 40 at a time. Got Rose up still. I see Rose running around the battlefield. I love this connection with you Patreon supporters, with you folks that chime in and say, hey, I would love a character named after me. We had a guy's 2 sons that were part of this campaign earlier in it. Or maybe we only had one of his sons. The point, though, is I love that connection with you fellas. It's been a great addition to make campaigns even more lively, even more intense, and I hope, for you fellas, even more immersive. And of course, I'm aware that there are some guys we haven't gotten their characters in, right? I asked for requests. Get these guys set up on this ridge here. I've got the 2nd division. Oh shit! I've got the 2nd division of archers coming in here. I want to get them set up on the rear ridge behind us here. I'm starting to use this ridge here as a bit of a peekaboo ridge defense. Force their infantry to come over that hill. Force their archers, which are coming, to come over that hill. That's going to be deadly. But I do have a list of about 10 people that are sort of waiting to get into this campaign. That'll get a lot easier once the Baron, both of these campaigns, we start to have player clans, right? It's harder when you only have the 9 companions, right? Obviously, it's numerically harder. Even when we have the clans, the player clans with Baron York, potentially here with Ryland, I don't know how many people want to be just some obscure noble, but we may eventually do that. Of course, nobody wants to play 12th fiddle. Shit, we lost our fucking horse. Right, let's get the 8th Corps here, a little bit of protection. I'm in a good position in this battle. I mean, that's an understatement. Look at that infantry line right at the edge of that ridge. We can put cavalry there to support them. Get a new horse here shortly. I'm hiding in my infantry here so I won't get smashed. But we will do our best to get you folks into this campaign, and I appreciate that you guys are enjoying that part of this campaign. Right? That's a lot of fun to collaborate with you folks, just like the Disaster of War series. It makes the channel, it makes the episodes feel more alive. I got the wrong guys off the horse here, but we're good now. I've got a strong line of cavalry here. They are boring through the middle with infantry, but it's just insta-dying, right? They're infantry in the center. Every time I look down there, there's 30 to 40 guys just running into a wall of infantry and being shot to pieces. I can actually start to get a little bit more careful with ammo, but we can also start doing some offensive tactics. They don't have very many troops, or I'm mistaken. Sometimes those numbers are not real accurate. With the reinforcement system or various different mods, the little the numbers above the distance away, The enemy, I think, has a lot more units than that. They're just sort of spread out. These guys coming in 2 at a time, 12 at a time. I think it's time to start getting offensive. You could start really putting the screws on the enemy, although, let's see what we got here. Let's get some horse archers to the other flank of the enemy. We've got horse archers that are out of ammo at this stage, and of course they just turn into very decent spear cavalry. Frankly, I'd rather have them over traditional spear cavalry. All right, they do have a big glob of archers starting to form here. We can harass them with this horse archer division, but I just see opportunity written all over this. And start spreading out a deadly contraption here. I can start getting an infantry division, an archer division, and a horse archer division wrapped up here on the enemy's left, our right flank. And we're going to be able just to surround this force, pound them at range with arrows, protect them with a cav division, and then encircle and destroy. And guys lament sometimes on the channel that we do a lot of defensive tactics. There's a reason for that, of course, and that's because it works. But there's... Shit, I just got smoked. There's definitely a time in Bannerlord for offense, and it's this kind of situation now. The enemy has a big clump of forces that are sort of gathering. The AI is very vulnerable because they don't split their forces up, right? They're doing exactly what we recommend, the opposite of what we recommend. Split your forces up so you can't be concentrated on. Look at this shit. This is beautiful. 338 archers. We have an archer division already in beautiful position. We can move up heavy cav and a horse archer division on the enemy's left. Our crossbows just firing into packed enemy troops down here. They got a little tiny infantry line, but that's not going to stop us. Let's move up this cav division, infantry towards the front, and on the far side, I'm just moving up the horse archers that are out of ammo. Let's get that infantry moving forward here. So I would say this battle is over, but, you know, in the back of my mind, again, what I'm always worried about is reinforcements. Are they going to get a bunch of sturgeons pouring in? Is there 900 or 1,500 more Southern Empire going to attack? And so we fight this battle as if it's a never-ending, impossible battle. We're going to try to fight these, not tactically perfect. I don't really believe in perfectionism. We're going to try to fight these in a manner that's highly effective, highly efficient. Trying to minimize our losses and mistakes here. It's like a chess match. We have chased that division right over the wall there, skewered the archers in the valley, a handful escaped. And we could just continue to pursue at this stage. The enemy's on the run. I think we have superior troops at this stage too. We certainly have, if not a numerical advantage, we have a power advantage, right? The enemy's down to... well, it's hard to know exactly. They have a huge amount of troops. 500. It's 700 troops over the other side of this ridge. Let's see what we got going on here. We start bringing up divisions because it might be another situation where we can trap them. That's a lot of fucking enemies still. These are... Okay, these are middle tier though. These are tier 3, tier 4 infantry. We should be able to surround and annihilate what's left of this Southern Empire force. And I'm kind of in a hurry. That's the other reason for offensive tactics in Bannerlord, especially at this stage, right? With the reinforcement system, if we didn't have the reinforcement system, I would say the urge to attack would be less, right? Other than sheer entertainment and the destructive nature, right, of highly coordinated attacks. But with the reinforcement system, you know, the enemy could very easily get a bunch of troops if we wait. Now, this is beautiful. What the fuck are they doing? Their archers just peeled over the ridge right into our fucking packed infantry and cavalry lines. Our archers are skewering everything. If they stay there, they're going to get insta-killed. They look like they're starting to retreat, and as they retreated, they're just getting scorched. Let's split our archer divisions here, and let's do a very quick savage flank, right? Don't even let them set up. Look at the position they're in. And they are down to middle tier and peasants. And this Southern Empire force is... Well, as like Mike Tyson would do here, right? Let's apply the uppercut. Let's wrap horse archers around the back of them. We've got archers heading to both sides to cut them off, right? That way their reinforcements coming in get shot, and these troops, if they try to regroup or retreat, they get mangled. Infantry is just going to plow through the center, right? The death spam is going to fizz. Now we can put horse archers behind them and trample them. Abusing something fierce here, and the enemy just looks like they're cascading downhill into a gigantic green death spam. And I get an occasional kill but mostly it's just huge volumes of Southern Empire forces being turned to fertilizer. I think this battle's over. There's a little trickling here of peasants who evidently don't want to work in the fields anymore. They would prefer to be part of the field. Well, we'll comply. You can join the rank of the departed there. And you start to get the feel in this campaign that the Southern Empire is not a threat. Is not, in fact, we'll put in the line here, right? Almost the title of the campaign, The Wars of the Four Powers. Well, you get a feeling that the Southern Empire is not one of the four, right? Even though they have Regalia still, even though they have, sizable armies like this, 2,000 troops, they just can't compare to the power of these Khuzait forces, the power of these, of Baron York's army probably, and clearly can't handle the Sturgeons, right? The Sturgeons would have just completely flattened them. Oh, shit. Well, here come the death, right? In a huge battle like that. Now, amazingly, that whole battle was 20 minutes. 3,000 on 3,000. But look at our deaths. We had 800 deaths and got almost 3,000 kills. So that truly was a Southern Empire ass whipping. And the disheveled and very tired looking Regalia joins our army. Or joins our prisoner train, rather. She ain't gonna join our army anytime soon. So the Khuzait, I want to say they're rolling on here, but they're rolling on against the Southern Empire. The Sturgeons, that's another story, right? And that's sort of the juxtaposition that I'm trying to describe here. We just fought in the last episode against a huge Sturgeon force, and we were seriously repulsed. We basically got our asses kicked. And the Sturgeons are sieging, right? They're sieging Mysia. They're sieging down there at, Danustica. The Sturgeons are a real problem. The deaths are a problem too, of course, because we lose control of those units. I think what I'm going to do here is run to town. What do we got here? I'm playing at work. I usually don't play at work. I'm going to call another few armies to me. I'm leery about too big of an army, but I'm also wary, that we're going to have a huge Sturgeon force loom out of the darkness. I want to have at least an army of 2,000 as an answer to that. But I got to take a break, actually. Believe it or not, someone's knocking on my door at work. All right, let's pick it up about now. Apologies for that. Sometimes I literally have someone come to my door. In that case, it was my captain that said, hey, I need you for a second. And so I had to take a little break. But we are back at it here, selling some loot very quickly here. We're getting an auto-save at Saronia, another defense in this area. Now, Akalat has a huge militia. I'm just not concerned about that falling. And all the action right now seems to be on this side of this little inland sea, or whatever you want to call it. It seems to be west of most of the Khuzait territory here. So we got to go see what's at Mysia. I'm worried about Danustica. I'm worried about it. I'm losing sleep, fellas, about Mysia here and Danustica. The Sturgeons look like they're sieging it down. If you're wondering why some of the cities have more units, we do have the strength in AI boosting the size of cities slightly. It adds a little bit of prosperity. It adds a little bit of food. The net effect of that, I figured, was more epicness to the campaign. It does make it a little bit harder for kingdoms to siege, but not if they have huge juggernaut armies, right? They're still going to be able to smash through it. It makes rebels stronger, right? When rebels rebel and they have 800 militia, it's a whole different story. And by the way, the rebels, I've noticed this. I'm trying to gather up some forces here. It looks like a bunch of Sturgeons. The rebel forces sometimes have 200 troops, and they'll have elite units. They'll have Khans guards and stuff like that. This is 3,000. This is a huge amount of Sturgeons. Ragenvad, Malkron, Heavy Hand. They're okay. So this is I say this sometimes when you guys hear me at a loss of words. It fits. We got a situation here. Mysia. I can't go down to Danustica. We're just going to lose that what's amazing is the Sturgeons have at least one large army down there, right? So they have at least 4 huge armies roaming the map right now, and I've got to get reinforcements here. The last time, it was last episode, right? We got a huge battle against the Sturgeons outside Melian Castle, and we lost, right? So we've really got to sort of spin the dice in our favors here, use some cheat codes, right? We got to do some shit here to somehow get by this force of Sturgeons. It looks like well over 4,000. Now the militia won't sally out, and we have no help here, right? There's no other Khuzait forces that are nearby. The only thing I can do is call whatever armies. The Jawal just joined us. I can call whatever armies are nearby. Now, one luxury I do have is time. Because the militia is large, I do have maybe a day and a half, 2 days before we need to engage in battle here, which is good because we're healing. I was going to say they're getting weaker. Morania. I don't know if I mentioned that, but the Aserai, I was going to say the Aserai declared war on us. Unbelievably, Monchug declared war on the Aserai, which is all we need right now. We're getting our ass handed to us here by the Sturgeons. We're dealing with the Southern Empire. And you see the AI do this shit. They just get very martial all of a sudden, right? They get pugnacious, right? We'll use some complicated words. Try to slip in a little bit of vocabulary every single episode, right? This is tactical enlightenment, right? Not dribble commentary. Bannerlord, we're gonna definitely do a little bit of brain strengthening activities every single episode, whether we're talking about the actual enlightenment with people like Denis Diderot and Voltaire, or we will just slip in some words to add to your thesaurus, add to your lexicon here. So we have 3,000 and growing, but they have more, right? This is amazing. 28. They still have 4,000 troops there, and that's a function of probably incredibly powerful units, right? These Sturgeon forces here. And some of our reinforcements are getting attacked by Southern Empire. Southern Empire forces may add as reinforcements here, right? So crank the difficulty to the max. But that's what we want, right? Every time, and speak of the devil, right? Southern Empire armies, and they're coming in here raiding. It's pick on Khuzait day here, and I don't dare ask for peace, right? Because the next thing you know, Monchug is like, fuck no, and then it costs you a bunch of influence. We're still definitely in the accumulation phase here. We are going to have, no, fuck, these fucking Khuzait forces just attacked. There's 2 reasons I don't want them doing that. It's not daylight, it's fucking pouring rain. That'll be bad for our horse archers. We do have almost their same numbers, but look at this fucking army we're fighting. It's like a who's who of Khuzait, or of Sturgia. The fucking Grand Princes here. High-end Nord leaders are here. Zuvan the Terror is here. He is a character from a previous campaign, so I don't know. Maybe I should have helped him, but there was no daylight. You guys wouldn't have been able to see shit, so even though these other forces may join as reinforcements, God, we're outnumbered. Yeah, it's, what do? Sometimes you just say, fuck it, let's engage. We at least will recruit every prisoner here, try to gain every small advantage we can. We don't have any cheat codes. In fact, effectively what we've done is given the enemy cheat codes, right? With these, Zuvan has like fucking 400 medicine skills, so his units are elite. Malkron Heavy Hand. It looks like a gigantic Nord to me. His head was off the screen. He was so big. So, get comfortable here. Make sure our wrist is comfortable here because it's going to be moving. I've had a few guys say, I want to see your hands when you play. They want to see like me typing and shit like that. I don't know if we'll do something like that. Maybe not. Everywhere once in a while I get a comment. Some guys like, you're using, they don't say auto block. I can't remember the name of it, but it sounds like they're talking about some program that types for you. I always get a kick out of that shit. We're definitely just playing a video game here. Just because we're making a lot of troop movement doesn't mean we got like some machine or AI, giving commands to our troops. That falls under the salty lot, that they're like, you can't perform. There's a video I have that's a popular video of the RTS overhead of a kill box, and they're like, yeah, that's fucking worthless though, because you can't do it without the overhead view. And I just Man, I take a deep sigh like Anton Chigurh in that scene at the gas station. Like, you know, just sort of a frustrated, annoyed sigh. All right, let's get our horse archers here shoved in the 7th and 8th. We have a huge amount of nobles on scene here because this is a titanic clash. This is probably the biggest battle of this campaign here. And it's just, we have a huge sea of Khuzait forces, but it is raining. It's very, very congested. And I can't think of worse conditions here for this battle. But we've got to stop the Sturgeons, right? They are just rampaging. They're down at Danustica. Ironically, we have like 50. We have like 50 of our own Varangians. But this is going to be insane. They have, I didn't mention it, but they had 600 something Varangians, and that was just in one army. So we have officially reached insane mode, right? Teslas have like a insane mode for speed. This battle and this campaign have reached insane mode. Definitely going to try to use the edges of this battlefield. For sure, they're going to be down in the valley, but if there's 700-800 of them, you know, they're going to be leaking out like the fat on a belly when it tries to, you know, wear too tight of pants. Sometimes I resent that statement. Other times I resemble it. It depends on how many times I've had Doritos in the past 2 months and stuff like that. Like most people, my weight oscillates. Sometimes I have a 6-pack and sometimes I have the old 1-pack. Now I'm going to dismount one cav division here. I want to have at least 3 squares. We're going to try to do a lot of bait and switch. And essentially try to confuse the enemy, right? We're gonna obfuscate. Send you guys to the thesaurus some more, right? We're gonna try to be opaque here and confuse the shit out of the enemy. Now, this is wild. Look at what they're doing. They are standing there stoically like Napoleon's Old Guard, and I'll remember that story at some point if I have time. I'll talk about it. Oh shit! Fucking surrounded by elite sturgeon lords while I admire the sturgeon's formation. It's an audacious formation. They have the whole valley is covered. We can't get by them, and they have literally wall-to-wall Varangians. It's wall-to-wall, and they're spread, which is ideal against horse archers. I dare say that was probably the tactic or the formation I would use if I was fighting myself. This is incredible, and it's very ominous. I don't know if I've ever seen this from the AI, and I have fought 1,000 battles, right? That's probably an under-exaggeration, right? Some guys are like, no way you fought 1,000 battles. Yeah, it's probably like 3,000, 5,000. The little ticker on the Steam thing when I load my game, it says 14,800 hours. And somehow I still get laid. I have a spectacular wife, that's why. Very forgiving. She told me to remind me to say forgiving the next time I did an episode. So a very amazing, forgiving, patient, kind wife. That helps me get laid. All right, let's go ahead and start pushing up horse archers into both sides here. I don't know what to do. I can't get around yet, so we're just going to try to apply a lot of firepower at range here while their cavalry charges. I don't know what kind of answer there is to hundreds of Varangians just in... I don't even know what kind of formation to call that. We'll call that... what are the... in Dune, what are the Emperor's Blades? That's what they look like. They're out there just... Sardaukar, they're just out there beckoning at us like, come get some, holding up their shield while our archers and horse archers shoot. And they're kind of shaking their head no, like that doesn't hurt us. Meanwhile, they have hordes of banner knights attacking us. Now, these horse archers back there are of no use. I thought the enemy would charge us, right? They have a huge amount of infantry, but they just don't even care about our range units. And I'm pounding on their lord, and they just don't die. Die! That is unreal. We finally killed that guy. This is fucking wild. Alright, let's keep resetting these divisions. This is going to be a long battle here. We're going to have to basically wear them down. I'm not sure a traditional ranged attack here is going to work, though. Our guys are shooting unimpeded into their ranks, and there's very little death spam because they have huge shields, elite armor, and, of course, high-end lords with artificially high hit points. Where are they going? They're moving now. They're shuffling. On that side of thing, of course, I've talked about all the time, the medicine skill above, what is it, 275, you get 1 extra hit point. Well, a few of these Sturgeon, and I guess we'll call them Norse lords, to simulate hyper tough, godlike units, they have 400 or 500 medicine skill. That means that some of their units on the battlefield, including these Varangians, have 300 or 350 hit points. Like uber incredibly tough units. And it's like they know it. They're just standing out there completely unperturbed. It really is like Napoleon's Old Guard at one of the battles. I'm trying to remember which battle. It doesn't matter that much. It was in the retreat in 1812 out of Russia. Napoleon's forces were being hemmed in, and there was a point where a bunch of sort of mediocre Russian troops had them surrounded and were sort of menacing Napoleon's Old Guard, which were his most badass units, as we prepare a flanking attack here. What I'm going to try to do is get horse archer divisions behind the enemy. It's going to be... Now they're reforming. All right, let's attack. Let's move up here. If they're going to reform, this is our best bet. Napoleon will have to wait. Let's move in here quick. I don't know if they're awaiting reinforcements. Probably. It says 720 infantry in here, and I bet most of it, if not all of it, is Varangians. As I often say, of course, he reminded me to say, don't say Lord of the Earth. That's a little bit presumptuous because, you know, the Lord of Middle-earth is humble. I digress. The fella who made this mod for me for this campaign, again, a big thank you to this fella. If you guys want uber Sturgeon forces, you want this mod, right? We're going to try to push around these forces somehow. Look at the throwing axes in slow-mo. We're going to try to push around them because if I can at least get horse archers behind them, it'll be harder for them to stand there like bronze fucking Greek statues. I got to get a horse. We've already had a horse taken out from underneath us. I got a lot of health. That's a good sign. And look at our archers are just not doing damage. They're firing away into the enemy ranks, and a combination of them being spread at a distance and holding up those shields, and we're just not getting kills. So we're going to have to get creative here. I got to steal one of these horses. Off your horses here, lad. Give me your horse. Come on, man. Get off. These fucking assholes. Like the wrong horses got off. I swear it was these guys over here. Now half these guys just dismounted. See if I can play this game with magical horses. And we got it. We just got to commit to this. So I'm going to press infantry towards the center, sort of keep them occupied. If they do fall back, at least these guys will be able to charge. And then we're going to try to stick horse archer divisions at the margins of this valley. Try to get behind them. Maybe hammer and anvil with some cavalry on the other side. And of course, the biggest reason I'm trying to do this is to get some flanking fire. Mother, just holding up their shields, scorching us with axes. And they really are like Terminators. That's kind of what they feel like. Napoleon's Old Guard or Terminators. We'll see how many losses this incurs getting forces. This side is through. I see some of them sort of skirmishing, and I see the axes, the throwing axes coming out by the hundreds. They must have bought them at Costco. And this is the opposite of that Southern Empire battle, where we just manhandled them in every way. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. War of the Four Powers, and the Southern Empire is not one of the four. This is definitely one of the four. I mean, these guys are awesome. And this is basically what I had hoped for when I formulated this campaign and we started doing our modding, is to have a Juggernaut challenge. Now, there's 500 or maybe 600 Varangians here in a huge line. And I've told our infantry to charge because I want their attention being held towards the center. They just charged. That's not good. Now I'm hoping we can apply some range damage. They actually have like rogue Varangians running in here attacking our units, which is worse, right? They're really formulating a good plan here. And I guess this is kind of what I was talking about earlier in this episode about how sometimes the AI just does stuff that surprises you. There have been multiple things already in this battle that I've either never seen before or it surprises me with how well they're fighting. Holding this tight knot of just defensive Varangians periodically charging, almost like I would, preventing us from flanking without at least harassing our sides. We've got a gigantic, gnarly battle here for you today. If you're not thrilled, I don't know, man. Seek some antidepressants. I don't say that in a bad way, of course. I mean, like, if you don't enjoy this, I don't know. You must not enjoy epic battles or Bannerlord or tactics. And they are just resolutely holding out here. Our forces charging are getting annihilated. That's probably most of the death spam. I'm trying to do that because otherwise the Sturgeon force will start to bore in on our sides, attack our horse archers. Now, if they split in every single side, we'll kite with horse archers. But they're pressing us against the walls here. Let's see. We just got some reinforcements. The 4th Division is now horse archers. 1st, 2nd. Okay, we still have no archers. I wish we had 200 archers. And if you wonder why, archers do more damage, right? Your crossbow, especially close, do more damage. Your archers generally are more accurate than horse archers, right? Otherwise, horse archers would just be wildly overpowered compared to archers. I think that was something they had to do. What they should do is make horse archers do like the same damage and stuff like that, or maybe even more because they're moving, and just make the accuracy a lot less, right? The arrows should hit the dirt a lot. Look at this. It just looks like a sea monster down in the valley, and it is a 720 infantry. It seems like we kill 100 and, you know, they just get 100 from the reinforcement list behind there. I wonder how many Varangians they have. This might be 2,000 Varangians or something like that. The ultimate Bannerlord challenge here for sure. Let's see if we can't overcome this shit. I've got this little tiny division with Rose. They're just sort of orphans. Can't really do anything with them. 20 archers that are out of ammo. We're just going to have to shoot these guys to pieces here. Periodically charge with the units that are out of ammo. I am going to put a cav division behind us here. Essentially towards the enemy reinforcement spot. And what that'll do is it'll limit how much their archers come up and kill us. But look at this shit. Their infantry division stretches the whole valley. In fact, I'm getting smashed over. That's 68 damage. And I have like maxed armor. Holy shit. I needed that health too. Damn, we just lost like 2/3 of our, or I guess maybe half of our health. This is fucking wild. Well, they're down to 670. And I just feel inept. I'm firing in arrows. 90% of them are hitting shields. Let's slash some of these fuckers here. We're just going to have to just absolutely tooth and nail this episode, this battle. And what a contrast to that Southern Empire battle. Okay, let's keep getting reinforcements up here. We do get some archers pushed out in the 2nd Division. If we could just keep our archers filtered in, where they get good range, good line of sight, we're going to be able to kill these guys eventually. And when they run out of Varangians, that's when maybe the real battle starts. Or at least that's when we can really turn the tide. I see Rose is in there trying to fight. She's going to, I was going to say get killed. She's definitely going to get knocked unconscious. Sorry, Rose. Every single person is at risk this battle. We just, you know, we can't sit back. We're going to have to charge, and units that run out of ammo are going to have to be used offensively. Lock off the enemy archers. I haven't actually seen a lot of enemy archers. Why would the enemy need archers, right? They just have 700 Spartans, Sturgeon Norse Spartans down here. On some level, I'm a little worried, you know, that the DLC with these new Norse units are going to be pathetic compared to the mod here. These incredibly elite units. I mean, obviously they will look unique. They'll probably have some kind of unique weapon mix. A lot of us have been really curious, but how could they be stronger than these guys? I don't think they can be. These units are unbelievably, they're a little scary tough, right? These guys are getting low on ammo. They're going to have to charge. Our tracker guy is still shooting them. I love it. I've got infantry here. I'm trying to form concerted lines. Otherwise, you know, we end up doing exactly what I talked about a half hour ago. Don't send your units in piecemeal. At the same time, I've got to keep the pressure on their blob of infantry. Otherwise, exactly what's happening is going to happen. They're charging our horse archers. Our horse archers will insta-die if Varangians get a hold of them. They're swinging those axes. Our companions just got butchered. Of course, you can't see the power bar. I can see it. I'm not looking up there much, though. Okay, we just had a bunch of cav reinforcements. It's time to apply some fucking just brute force to this. God, it's ominous looking. Let's bring this 3rd Division in here, just every single unit to try to finish off these Vlandians here, right? Archers on both sides, infantry's charging at the front, a hammer and anvil attack from behind with this 3rd Division, 2 Consguards divisions shooting, and another one attacking in melee. I'm out of firepower after that. I do have archers coming up, but they're not going to be able to join this wave. And if that doesn't kill them, I don't know what to do. The death spam looks really bad. They're up here wailing away with their axes. And that's, I think, one of the best parts about these Varangians. The Lord of Middle-earth, again, his name is Isaac. He made this mod. One of the best things he did is he gave them all 3 nasty attacks. They're very dangerous with just a sword, right? They do good damage, and they're really hard to kill with that shield. But they have an axe and throwing weapons. And they're deadly with all of them. If we start kiting back here, I think our infantry got mostly annihilated. We are getting archer reinforcements. I think we'll start using these back ridges here. I'm starting to feel some despair here. We do have a lot of units left though, so sort of pep talk myself here. We've got a bunch of archers coming in. We can have those guys basically confront the enemy as they come over that ridge. I can get some archers up on this ridge. It's a good battlefield for archers. Maybe not so much for horse archers. It's just a lot easier to get a whole bunch of archers in a tight spot. Your horses, oh shit, they're just barreling through the valley here. We're going to have to reposition these archers. They're going to get smoked. I can't believe they came in so aggressive. I thought they were going to regroup. Let's see. Let's get some up here on this wall. We've got a ton of Consguards here. Let's use these guys, right? Let's give a little bit of hammer and anvil approach here. We do have an infantry division. We can form a square here in the center of the valley. There's even more coming from over the ridge. They might have had 3,000 Varangians. I don't know. It just seems like 3/4 of their army is Varangians. I don't see anything except Varangians. This is insane. And I love it. Shit. We took another blow there. We do have them surrounded here pretty well, but I don't know if that's going to yield the results we want. Surrounding a great white shark, right? As I like to say, not advised. Our infantry's just getting obliterated. All right, let's start forming lines back here. There's a little bit more room right here in this part of the valley here. So let's get an infantry square. We can get these archers set up here. Get adjusted a little bit here. Sometimes I start to slip down in my chair. I need like a harness that straps me in. I suggest to you guys to strap in for these battles. Zuvan is getting kills still. I need a harness, so I quit slipping down in my chair. It starts to fuck with my mouse control. Look at Zuvan, killed somebody else. I can't remember exactly the stats that he has, but he's basically a maxed guy. He's a level 55 unit that we're fighting against here in the enemy ranks. And we're, what, 20 minutes into this battle at least, and he's still smoking guys. Alright, we've got archers in beautiful position. We do have a bunch of infantry in the valley holding a bit of a line. We are going to be able to make a square. Now we just got to back it up, right? We're charging here on the flanks with Consguards. Let's back this square up, right into the teeth of all these archers. This has got to work. I'm down to like an 1/8 of a health bar. All right, I like the death spam, and the arrows are starting to hit them. I'm starting to hear guys screaming down there. Enemy units for once screaming. We've got a ton of archers, 178 in the second. All right, let's. We're gonna have to get some protection line because they're charging over with cavalry. Of course, the enemy has all the units. You'll even see Consguards because, of course, the Sturgeons in this campaign have taken some of the Khuzait territory. They basically have it all. They have Fiend Champs. They've got these unbelievably tough range units. They've got elite cataphracts, banner knights. But look at those arrows raining down. Now, they're bringing up their own archers here. Oh, shit. Finally, we're down to only Tier 5 infantry here. We're at least through their Tier 6, and we've got them now. Those guys are fish in a barrel, so maybe we can turn it. Come on, boys. There's tons of archers coming up now. I've got to protect this left flank over here. They've got line breakers. These are their weakest units, and I just got smoked. And that guy got smoked. He got smoked, and then he got sent flying. Fuck. I don't have any companions left. They're all dead. This guy is moving as slow as he possibly can. All right, let's at least sprint. I can't believe how slow this guy is. And his weapon speed is molasses. I'm just charging here with archers just to give these guys some daylight. I'm doing 20 damage. That guy got smoked. This guy gets smoked. And this battle is starting to go south. I don't have a commander. I got to get a horse somehow. Let's at least try to hold the valleys. I mean, Ryland lasted a long time, but there's just so many different threats in a battle like this. Die! And give me your horse. Just trying to recover. God, the death spam looks bad. They have tons of cavalry just charging through while we try to reset our lines here. And I feel completely, compared to any normal companion, I feel utterly impotent. I can't command because I can't get a horse. I can't really fight because it's a fucking sharpshooter. I guess I could shoot my crossbow and do, 26 damage. The enemy still has tier 5 units, and I'm doing 10 damage. Give me a horse. Now I can't even get on the fucking horses. This is turning into a nightmare. At least we're still on our feet, right? If we didn't have the RTS mod, this battle would be completely over. Not only that, there'd be no chance, no suspense. 140. We've got a lot of horse archers. Let's start to form a crane pattern here in this valley. I hear guys routing. Don't forget, too, our number of troops that are fighting in here is going to have some very low-level troops that were part of the garrison of Myzia. Almost got skewered in slow-mo. The garrison sallied out when we attacked, I think. And so we have some very low-level troops. Not to mention, our army probably just has some, Imperial recruits and whatnot. And the death spam is virtually all red. It's just flushing red. The units are being told to fire. We're just not killing anything. And I'm moving. I'm on a little pathetic farmer's market pony. This fucking battle is over. You hate to give up, right? Because there could be all of a sudden reinforcements, right? Such and such Khuzait army reinforces you. There have been surprisingly few messages. I don't know. I know for sure the reinforcement mod is working, or at least it's active. But there's just no forces joining here. And I don't know if we can win with what we have on the field. They're bringing up nasty archers. I see Fiend champs. They've completely ran over our left flank. 200. We still got a good amount of troops. They're just not killing. The enemy has a ton of Sturgeon brigands and their Jav Cav up there just scorching our units. And this battle is over. These guys... Oh, shit. I thought this was our Consguard. Oh, shit. The enemy's got Consguards at the end of the battle here in our back lines. Wow, this is definitely the strongest army I've ever faced in Bannerlord. I mean, at least as far as... we have a couple episodes on the channel that are very old against 10,000 enemies. I don't know if we'll ever get a battle that big again because we were at war with the whole map. Right, that was highly contrived, but that was like the perfect death to exit out here. I can just hit retreat. We've got a lot of troops, but just getting absolutely our shit pushed in here. As far as an army, of 4,000, at least in this campaign, I've just never faced anything so powerful as this. And they're gonna get more powerful, right? Because they're gonna win this battle. They're gonna get all the commensurate rewards and shit like that. We killed 2,000. So as our units are out here. And now you just pray nobody dies, right? It's definitely a chance. All right. It looks like nobody died at least. And they still have 2,000 forces here outside of Mysia. And I spoke too soon. Ryland's wife just died. So it's a grim day here, folks. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this episode up. I need a pep talk and some antidepressants. No, I digress. Of course, this is practically what this campaign is built on, is to make this incredibly difficult campaign some of the most difficult armies I've ever faced, and probably anybody's ever faced on YouTube. You know, outside of stupid challenges against 30,000 foes, this is about as close as it gets to impossible. That doesn't mean Ryland's not gonna come back, right? We're still alive, although we're likely to get captured here outside of Mysia. And you're going to want to tune in if you want to see more, right? This is your opportunity to subscribe. Please hit that like button on the way out, friends. I appreciate you folks, and I will see you next time.